All right, we are live. It is the 202nd. I don't even feel right saying that episode of the Mina's House podcast. I'm Mina SayWhat.
I'm Shana B.
Garnett, Briscoe.
Stuckey.
Look at us reunited and it feels so good. I was just telling them, I feel like every week I'm hunting someone down.
A lot going on over here right now
for the podcast. Okay, braids. Let's go, Shana.
I've had braids. I remember I was Patrick.
I know, but I didn't see it down. I like it down.
Okay.
It looks cute. For those listening, you can watch us on YouTube, Mina's House Podcast. I want to say happy belated birthday to Mr. Garnett Briscoe. Woo, woo.
Oh,
happy birthday.
Hey.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Came out in his robe today, looking like a pimp.
Listen, it was a rough day today. I'm still recovering from the weekend. It's rough.
How's your birthday?
It was awesome. I got a chance to kick it with you. I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. I was worried you might give me COVID. That's why.
There you go. That's messed up. Look, you were home fine, didn't you? You was okay.
I don't know. I might have to take a test, bro.
Throat scratchy a little bit.
No, my throat's been bothering me. I'm not even exaggerating. I really got a little tinkle in my throat.
Yeah, it was being at that damn concert. It wasn't me. Yeah.
At the City Girls concert?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Guys, I went to see the City Girls. It was the worst concert I've ever been to. They are terrible performers. I feel bad for anyone who spent their money on them. I will never in life go to a City Girl concert ever again. It was bad.
What was so terrible about it?
Oh my God, where do I start? First of all, they did like 8 to 10 songs, right? And then someone tried to be slick and like, well, they only got like 3 hits. Okay, but they got more than that songs, right? So they only did 8 to 10 songs. So Young Miami comes out in her robe and a Capri Sun.
I love it.
Wait, she's sipping on the Capri Sun while the music is playing. So she's not even performing. Like she's drinking a Capri Sun. And the crowd is like, obviously everybody knows words, right? So the crowd is performing literally her part for the first 2 songs. And she's sipping on a Capri Sun. And she's saying like little ad-libs here, like, period. So I'm like, okay, that you're not gonna perform your music. Okay, cool. Then the third song in their set, JT come talking about, we in Philly, let's turn up for my man, and plays a little Uzi song. I'm like, girl, y'all 2 songs in. You couldn't give us 7, 8 songs before you play Lil Uzi? Like,
did he come out?
No, that was the weird part. She didn't rap his music. She didn't sing his song. He didn't come out. She didn't dance. They were just walking around listening to Lil Uzi on the stage.
Well, maybe he seen them perform and he was like, what I'm not going to do is bring my performance level down.
Oh my God, because Uzi is a beast. He kills it on the stage.
Right. So
then they play Swag Surf. So I'm like, okay, at this point, you've done 4 songs and half of the songs ain't yours. Right?
You just say you hate that song?
Hate that song. Can we please retire it?
I feel you, Dex. I mean, it is, it's a classic, but
blasphemy on the podcast.
It's a classic, but yeah, it's definitely.
Maybe y'all too young because that song gets me going.
I think it's just like the fun of you grab somebody and you're like moving around. That's what it is.
But I don't want City Girls doing it as like their 5th song and y'all not even really performing. What's out no Swag Surf?
So it's the 4th song they do in Swag Surf. So after they Swag Surf, Young Miami's like, oh, y'all want me to take my robe off? So she takes her robe off, right? And then she actually starts kind of performing. So I'm like, okay, maybe she needed to get warmed up a little bit. Maybe it's about to get better. Right?
You as a new artist, you do not need to get warmed up. You should be so thrilled that you have the opportunity to perform. That people paid for a ticket to come see you. You ain't Madonna.
Right. So then they do a couple songs and then the twerk contest. The twerk contest comes and they got 15 girls on there. 2 of them are little girls, right? But they got the little girls doing the TikTok dance, right? Mm-hmm. So on one side of the twerk contest, they got the little girls doing the TikTok dance. On the other side, they got women who are pulling their pants down. One girl literally pulled her pants down. I saw her whole booty and she was on her period. So I saw a pad too. Period. And I was like, this is the most ratchet thing in life. So after the twerk contest, they start taking pictures, and then Young Miami's on the mic like, oh, I can't take individual pictures because if I take one with you, I got to take one with everybody. I'm like, girl, why are you saying this on the mic to the whole
during the show?
Right, half of an empty, arena. It wasn't an arena. It was like a venue, right?
Yeah, but what does she mean? Like, does she mean she can't? She only takes pictures with JT, or like it has to be a group picture?
It was a group picture with everybody that was participating in the twerk contest.
I don't know these girls. Why would I want a group picture with them?
Hello. But why would you say that on the mic? Like, you wait to say that on the side of the stage, or you have your handler come and handle the twerkers and usher them out, and then you continue to perform. So now they're on the stage taking a picture for 10 minutes. Literally, the whole people are just sitting there like
backstage. That should happen. Like you say, your handlers grab these people.
Right.
Y'all gonna watch the rest of the show from here. Right. When they come off, we're going to take the photo out. It shouldn't be handling that in the show.
That's what would happen for a well put together and produced show, But so now they're on the stage for 10 minutes taking pictures. We're just watching them take pictures. Then they're playing their music in the background. They're not performing their music. They're taking pictures to their song. One of the songs that they played in the background was her single "Rap Freaks," which is her first solo song. You would think she would want to perform her first solo song. No, it's playing in the background and they taking pictures. And then they just walked off.
Oh, wait, that was the end of the show?
That was the twerk contest was the highlight with the girls' pad and the two little teenage girls doing the damn TikTok dance. That was the highlight of the show. All of it lasted maybe 25 to 30 minutes.
But did they have an opener?
No.
Oh my God.
It was the worst.
You just spent more time looking for parking.
It was bad, y'all. It was the worst.
And yeah, those women that was up there, they deserved an individual picture. If they performed more than you did, that's what it sounds like.
Put on they need some of these concert proceeds.
Right, something right. If you're not paying them, then you damn sure better take a picture with them.
It was bad, man. People got to really work on their craft, and I feel bad for these young people and like these young girls, like early 20s, late teens that went to go see the City Girls looking for a good time. When I was walking out, this one girl, she must have been maybe 21 years old. She's like, I'm so disappointed. Wow. That's terrible.
Wow.
So let's segue into what's in our feed because, we're talking about concerts, and I don't think people realize how much goes into a concert, and like in the instance of the City Girls, I don't care if you have 3 songs. There is a way for you to put together a performance where maybe you have backup dancers. Maybe you rap somebody else's song. Maybe you go off the stage to, freshen up or take your robe off or drink your Capri Sun or whatever. And you got dancers on the stage killing time and entertaining the audience. They didn't think of any of that. They just walked out there. They clearly don't have any kind of dress rehearsal or sound rehearsal because there's nothing for them to rehearse. It's not like they have a pre-planned show, right? But all of this goes into creating a good show, the presentation, who's doing what, who's going to escort these people out of here, security, all of these are things that you have to think about when you're putting together a show, especially a festival. Now, Travis Scott is in a sea of litigation right now because of his festival, Astroworld. And there was a surge to the stage. People started to stampede. People were hurt. They were getting stepped on. 8 people passed away. And now this is a nightmare for Travis Scott, for NRG, the stadium, for Live Nation, the promoter, because there is an expectation from the fan that you are safe at some of these shows. So I wanted to kind of get your thoughts about this because this is a very convoluted situation. Now they're bringing in Travis Scott's past and how he has encouraged in the past people to rage and be violent at his shows. So that's definitely coming to light at this point. People are coming forward talking about when they went to a Travis Scott show and got injured. One guy said he got pushed and lost his leg at, he can't walk now from being pushed at a Travis Scott show. What do you think that this is just like a mistake, or does Travis Scott have ownership or should take ownership or liability for what happened to these people and all these people being trampled on and hurt?
I think, go ahead. I was gonna say, I think the one thing I would say is, it's obviously it's tragic and we feel bad for everyone that not only lost their lives, but, have to deal with the PTSD from that. But I do think that the fans have to take some accountability. I mean, as you mentioned, there is a known thing of like what his fan base is and what happens at his show. I actually remember Made in America. You and Mina, me and you were there, Mina, and I just watched his documentary, which highlighted like his performance and the fans and some of the things they do. And I remember we stood in the back because one of the things we knew was that's something his fans like to do. And it was like, we're not going to get caught in that chaos. So I feel like, but again, we knew that, like we were taking responsibility. And this is, I don't even know how many years ago. One of the things I feel like for the fans is, when you are a fan of a person and that's something that that they're into or is going to happen at the show, because one of the lawsuits is saying like, well, is a girl that was injured at the last show that's now injured here. And I guess that's my point in the liability. Like, and she's saying it is his fault because of past history, but you continue to come back and was willing and wanting to participate or potentially participate in that. So there is obviously, in this case, it's so tragic. It's so many flaws that it sound like happen, from security to qualified medics, to enough medics and things of that nature and setup and everything. But I do feel like at some level, everybody wants to blame Travis. They even started blaming Drake, who only performed one song. At some level, the fans have to take some accountability. Like one story I don't want to get into, but it was a very young child who was in the hospital. And I guess that was my question is, if I'm a fan, I'm not taking my 9-year-old niece knowing what happened. I'm probably not taking her to most shows, let alone knowing what's going to happen at a festival and a show like that. But I do feel like I want some of the fans to be accountable for the artists that they love and knowing what happens at these shows.
I agree with that 100%. I think that my biggest thing, like I keep seeing this thing where people are like, Travis, his apology was mediocre and he should be doing this and he should be doing that. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I mean, him saying he's going to pay for the funerals, I think that's a really big move. I've heard that he's going to refund the people their money too. I think that's a big move on his part. Like he's lost money doing it. He canceled his next show. I don't really know what else Travis, the artist, could really do. I think that overall, like, I do think the fans have to take accountability. And I also think it's like Texas and the police officers and like the venue itself. Like the video that I saw was people running in there and knocking over metal detectors. I'm assuming before the show even started, the show's canceled. We're going to have to all take an L on this. We all have to lose the money on this because these people are acting crazy. Like we're not going to deal with this, but you still let the show go on. Because the video I saw of someone saying somebody's in the crowd dead, that was at nighttime. So like this was an all day type of situation where it's just like you guys knew that this was happening and still let the show go on. I'm not saying that Travis can't be, responsible or nothing like that, but I feel like people have too much of an expectation for him and not enough for the people who actually cause this, which are the fans. Furthermore, I think this goes back to like people are upset with Travis, but like this is literally the same thing that we see every year on Black Friday when people walk into Walmarts and Best Buy. Trample over people. They trample over people. Somebody dies every single year on Black Friday.
Dexter, no.
I'm telling you, but the thing is, when it happens, you know what they do? They scoop the body off the floor and they let people still go shop for their TVs. And I feel like that's what's going to happen in this situation. Like there's nobody's going to be held accountable. Nobody's going to jail because you don't know who did it.
I don't know about nobody's going to be held accountable, but go ahead, Garnett.
No, I was just going to say, I agree with y'all as well. I think it's really hard to, I guess somebody has to be to blame, right? And since he's the artist, he's the easiest target to blame, but it's not even just his show. Like he shouldn't be the face for shows that have this type of atmosphere in them. Like we can remember when Kanye, I forget which tour it was, but when he had the floating stage, it was people jumping on stage. Down below him was a mosh pit, and his music, it doesn't necessarily represent a certain tone, but this is what's going on, especially in this era where you have the younger generation, you have generations that just some of the fans that are just cut from a different type of background and get a chance to go there and drink and be on drugs for the most part. Like I feel like that's plays a whole lot of what happens outside where, and these aren't just regular drugs like weed. So it's like, yeah, you're already pumped up on this Molly Percocet or whatever you got going on, and then now you want to start a mosh pit. Now you want to do things like jump from the one of the top tiers just to try to get on stage, and then now you break your leg because nobody decided to catch you. It's like, yeah, you did that all because it's a camera out. And I feel like that plays a lot in what happens as well. Like Dexter, you spoke about the kids just bum rushing everything. It's like, yeah, they knew exactly what that was going to happen. Everybody's looking for something epic. Everybody's looking to like make something completely different than what it is and go viral. So it's like, yeah, these kids want to put on the craziest show themselves while they watch one of them crazy shows. But this is same thing that goes on in the rock and roll, scene for the hard rock. Yeah, it's not, it's very unfair that he's getting this to this extent, but I do understand it because people lost their lives at a major level, and this is one of, we're just opening the world back up for the most part. So having his concert, and who he puts on great shows, like when he was at the Wells Fargo,
same thing happened.
Yeah, but it couldn't to the extent because it's seats.
I know, but I remember standing there and like closer to the front row, and people started to rush the stage, like jumping over seats. It was insane to witness that.
But let me say this. I don't know if you guys remember, but at the Roots picnic before the pandemic, there was a stampede, and we still to this day don't know who caused it. And I was in it,
right?
And it's scary and I wasn't even in the crowd. I was on the outskirts. It is the scariest thing when there is a crowd of people running towards you and you don't know why, and you don't know what you think violence immediately, right? Yeah. So you don't know if someone has a gun. Is there a bomb? For like, what would make a massive crowd of people run, right? And I had never seen nothing like that. And the crazy part about it was I didn't see a lot of police officers coming to investigate. So a part of the problem is it's easy now to do these mass festivals, right? You get all the artists, you get them all at once, you get a lot of people in the vicinities. But are you planning in case something happens with all these people in terms of security? And that's really what the problem is. I think I started thinking about Made in America and all the places I've been to that this could have potentially happened. I don't see the same level of police officers there that is equivalent to handle a crowd that big, right? So when you have people who have lost their lives, and someone needs to be held accountable because these families want justice. You have to think about these things, right? Yeah. I mean, you have to think about the fact that there's not enough security there. You have to think about where the barricades were placed. Was it a safety hazard? You have to think about even the fact that there was an ambulance there. Did Travis Scott stop the show? I think about I think about watching Selena, the movie. And in the movie, literally, they're pushing and rushing the stage in the movie. And this is a real thing that happened. And you see people starting to get crushed on the barricades. And you see the cops come and try to push them back. And you literally see Selena in the movie, aka J-Lo, tell people, shh, and literally calm them down and slow down the music because I guess she had some kind she felt like she needed to calm things down because it was getting rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is very dangerous when you have an artist that literally sees people getting rowdy and doesn't instinctively say, I need to calm this down because I might be putting some people in danger.
Well, I would say a couple of things. To your point, he has stopped shows before because of that. But again, we're talking about a culture and a vibe that, to that part, will hold him accountable, that he's a part of encouraging whatever they call the rage. So
that's what he's being sued for, inciting violence and inciting a riot.
Right.
That is a legitimate charge.
Right. Like, so whether you did it at that point, that is, again, your fans come to the show knowing at some point that's going to happen. Like, it's going to pop off, whether you are the one that says, come on a rage or whatever, you don't. But to your point about security, I feel like the biggest thing is, again, he had been sued before because of a raging incident. I think it was at like Lollapalooza or something. So I go down to the accountability of like the Live Nation or whatever, like, you guys knowing that this is something that is a part of his music and his fan base. No, shouldn't you have had enough security to deal with it? Again, you bring up the Roots picnic. I think where it was a little different is that's not what you're expecting at the Roots picnic, right? You're not expecting a stampede or something to happen. Doesn't mean he shouldn't have enough security, but it's not the expectation. At his shows, there's an expectation that this is going to happen with the fans. So it should already be double. I read a story from one of the medics saying, again, there were not enough, they weren't trained enough. Like, there were some medics, he said, that didn't know how to do CPR, which I don't even know how you get a medic job and not know how to do CPR. Right. But again, that's a problem. But to your other point about accountability, and I know we all gonna laugh when I say this, but is Texas accountable? Because why y'all holding the festival in the middle of COVID?
Like, not the COVID part, like, because nobody cares about that. I think that they don't, clearly. I think that, but overall though, I think Texas needs to hold themselves accountable though, because at the end of the day, Travis don't own that land. Y'all own that land. If y'all saw things were getting out of hand, shut it down. Like, there's this police officer, and they said he's like a high-ranking police officer, and he's going out saying, like, I told them that this wasn't a good idea, this and that. But why you ain't shut it down? Like, why you didn't do nothing?
And they have had, especially in tours, the specific tours that I know, the tour company will come to the artists and artist management and say, we got to end, y'all over curfew. We got to end, this is happening. So that's the part that I don't feel like is fully on Travis, because yes, he could have made a call. Maybe, again, to your point with the Selena example, it was dark. I feel like they showed some videos where he saw certain things at different times and did stop, but it was dark. There were a lot of lights. He might not have been able to see every single thing. Like, I know people were saying,
you sound like a publicist.
Help to him.
You
might not be able to hear help. But again, that's what you got all these other people that work for the tour, that work for you, that should have been making it aware. And shows have definitely been stopped by artists. Yes, artists will be pissed, but there definitely been times where it's like, yo, we gotta.
That's a good point. When these people were laying on the ground, no one had a walkie-talkie and said, hello, there's people laying on the ground.
Exactly.
Well, no, because
but that's the thing. I don't think they knew they were dead,
Yeah, maybe
laying on the ground.
Maybe not dead, but this is a thing that's like almost normal. Like, one of my friends went to a Travis Scott concert at the Wells Fargo. He said it, like, he was on the floor. He wasn't like in the seats. He was on the floor, and it was overwhelmingly hot. And some people are going to pass out because they've been drinking. They've been doing everything. They are not hydrated. And in that pit that you're in, it's going to be extremely hot. So I don't, some of the things he was saying, it's not like somebody pulled out a gun and shot somebody and he still decided to perform. It was people passing out, and people normally pass out at his shows. I don't know to what extent. But Michael Jackson used to perform like crazy, and people.
It ain't the same thing.
Oh no. Well, no, it's the same thought where Mike is just used to that. Mm-hmm. It's nothing normal. If one of them would have died, you think Mike would have thought twice? Like, he wouldn't have been thinking that person is dead.
I need more video footage.
Yeah.
Well, so Garnett, to your point, Travis did say in his statement, had I known the severity. So to your point, maybe, yes, there are people that normally pass out. But again, this is now where we come to the team, to the stadium, as Dex pulled out, like, who's informing him like, hey, it's getting bad. Like, we gotta stop.
And they all need to be sued. They all need to be sued, period. And they don't have enough insurance money to handle all the lawsuits. They don't, you know.
So they're getting sued, but the people who are knocking over the barricades and actually trampled over human beings, like nothing happens to them. Like, it's fine that you did this.
No, they should be held responsible too.
But we don't know who they are.
Like, even at the Roots picnic, to this day, I still don't know what happened. People said someone had a gun. People said someone yelled gun. People said there was a fight. Someone said the stage collapsed. To this day, I do not know what happened. All I remember was being scared for my life because I thought, I don't know why, but you think of the worst thing when you see that many people.
Like that happened.
I'm like, is there a bomb? I don't know why I went there, but I went there. And it was so unsettling that I will never forget. Her came on the stage afterwards, and you know her music is slow as hell.
Yeah.
So there was no way that you was turning up to that, but I still felt so uncomfortable. I had to leave. Just like to your point, Shana, about the PTSD of when you feel that, you're scared now to be in that environment because you don't know if it's gonna happen again. You lose your trust in being in a crowd that big.
And unfortunately, some people do get enjoyment of, to Garnett's point, being hurt and acting the craziest and going to these shows. Again, we see that Made in America, climbing a tree and then falling. Like, they actually like want to do those things. And then and again, I'm not saying this, again, this is tragic and there are things that happen, but then some of these people cry wolf, like once you got injured, like Garnett said, you jumped off the side of the stage. What happened? I'm not saying that happened with all the victims, and to your point, all the other people that were caught up in it. And like I said, especially the younger victims that don't know no better. You're coming here with your cousin, your dad, mom, or somebody you don't know because you're too young to know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how this plays out. Just an unfortunate situation, and it's sad that people had to lose their lives in order for these questions to be asked. Do we have enough insurance? Do we have enough trained medical professionals? Do we have a system where we could stop everything if need be? And then artists just being more responsive and responsible for what's going on in the crowd. Did he see an ambulance? That's why I need to see footage. Like, if I see an ambulance, I'm gonna stop.
He did stop for one. He said there's an ambulance, let them through. But I mean, I don't know how many times that happened.
And he stopped at one point and he actually got medics over to somebody that wasn't getting attention because he saw the person.
Right, but then you keep going. I don't understand that.
But again, to the Garnett's point, I think that happens at some of these shows that they now become accustomed to. It might happen.
Well, this is a learning experience for him.
And he probably has a ton of PTSD himself, moving
Shana, can I ask you a question just real quick? When you applied, like, how long was the interview process?
Stop, Dex.
You
worked for the team. Like, you worked for him. Like, this girl just said he has PTSD.
No, like, I remember when Ariana Grande, remember when them people got killed, like, at her show, like, if it don't affect him, then I would think that everything that I thought about him is really wrong. It should affect you at some level. Meanwhile, though, Drake, like, I perform one song and I'm being named in these songs.
I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Y'all just want some money at this point.
Drake, like, came out for a feature and now I'm getting sued for $4 million.
Listen, he contributed to inciting the riot.
That's crazy, man.
He contributed to the level of the energy rising.
It ain't even his show.
Okay, well, speaking of taking the heat for things or credit for things that you don't do, this is bad, y'all. So Summer Walker dropped their album, Still Over It. The album is incredible, right? So we know that the first album was completely executive produced by the man who is now her baby father. Mm-hmm. They were in a relationship, right? So this second album, again, for some reason, he has a writing credit on every song, all 10 songs, and the album is like a diss album towards him. Because since the first album, they've been in a relationship, they've had a child, he has 3 other baby moms. Apparently he's not taking care of his kids, he's cheating. So the whole album is a diss album towards him, and he's literally making money off of it.
Yeah.
Which is craziness. Now, she was so upset that this came out where she was like, look, he hired these people and he chose people to work on my album and just put his name on it. But when you talk business terms, that means he has a production company.
Yes.
And his production company is working with her album. Now, I don't know if there's a deal there. Recently, it's come out that Summer Walker has signed bad deals, particularly the deal with her label where she's making 16 cents on the dollar, right? So I don't know if there is a deal, a contract there where she's locked in to work with his production company. So he doesn't have to physically be in the building and work on the music, but he does get a credit because it's his company, the people working for his company working on the music. But I kind of wanted to talk about this and then just kind of talk about if is this right or is she just dumb?
It's right if she signed the contract.
Oh my God, here comes publicist Shana.
If obviously she signed a contract and she is signed in for a production deal. Let's hope that it was only for 2 albums, because if she got more albums that she got to give him, honey, I feel so bad for her, or she can't get out of this contract somehow. But clearly she signed a contract that she couldn't get out of, but she must have just said, listen, I don't want to work with you. So like you say, he hired the people. It's really sad and epic at the same time that you get paid off of and probably more than 16 cents on a dollar. He might be getting paid more than her off of the album dissing him.
But remember this happened to Kesha? Mm-hmm. Remember she was working with Dr. Luke? Uh-huh. And she's locked into I don't know if it's a management and production deal, which is a whole mess in itself. Because Summer Walker literally signed a management and a record label deal with her label. Typically, you sign a manager that's going to fight your label to make sure that you're getting the right thing. Her manager and the label are the same people. So it's like Kesha was involved in the same situation with Dr. Luke, and literally he's making he's making money off her songs, and she's suing him in court because she was allegedly abused by him.
Nah, yeah, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but that's a lot of the game. Like even it's a lot of ghost producing going on as well. So like we don't even know to the extent what happened where, maybe they did go to the studio with these other people and she okayed it because they have previous work before and she wants a certain sound and these guys were able to deliver it, but maybe her ex is the actual guy that's executive producing it, and maybe he has to press a couple keys and add his touch to it. So it's like, I don't know what you think was going to happen, but it's a lot of producers that do that. You think Dr. Dre make every single beat from scratch that's out? No, he gets help sometimes as well. Where somebody may have the skeleton of the beat and next thing you know, he's adding his finishing touches because that's too much work for one man to do and to stay relevant. That's too much work. So like, even in this, like, we just don't know to the extent of what it was. Is it really being bamboozled? Like you said, is it her just having a lack of knowledge and just being emotional about it, that she wasn't really thinking, all the way through that, oh, this guy is going to get paid. So maybe if she is locked into the deal, maybe she renegotiates something. I'm not sure what they have going on, but maybe I
don't either.
If he's going to be paying like child support, I don't know, but maybe that comes out of the percentage.
Damn, she paying for her own child support.
Now that is thinking. That's genius on his part if that's the case.
Alimony or whatever the case may be, this is the percentage, but. Yeah, it's the game is the game, especially in entertainment. It's sold, not told, unfortunately, and it doesn't matter if it's your spouse or not. Somebody is behind that pen, and he or she is going to make out probably better than a other person that's sitting across that desk, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm with publisher Shana here. Like, if you sign that deal, that's on you, baby girl. Like, you did that. And truthfully, for me, like, I signed the deal, and I know it's a bad deal, but can y'all just keep it on the low? I don't want nobody to know that that's the deal that I signed.
It was somebody like you, Dexter, pointed it out, because She wasn't going to say nothing, and he wasn't going to say nothing. And somebody went through them credits and highlighted and tweeted him.
Because I saw it. I said, wait a second.
Getting this.
What happened?
Somebody was like, but I am a person like that too. I read a lot of the credits. Just, I always like to read, like to see who, because sometimes you are shocked, like, oh, okay, this person was behind it. Or to your point, sometimes somebody getting their name on there because they was like, no, instead of da na na, we're gonna say da na 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 na. You don't know.
No, but it makes a difference, girl. Because if it would have been da da da, that wouldn't have been a hit. But because you changed it to da 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 da, that's the catchy part that made it work. Right. Like Ray Sherman does it all the time. They add these little weird, quirky things. Remember, they were mad that they weren't in the video for, I think it was The Highest in the Room or something like that. The Travis Scott and Drake video. But their part was like the most fire part, but it was Sway Lee. It wasn't so much Ray Sherman. And it's like, his part was the firest part, but it was like a couple of seconds long,
But to your point, this need to be a lesson to people in the music business. You're so eager to get a label deal and get in there. Summer Walker should be an example for you. Like, don't just sign everything. Have somebody outside of definitely the label. You should never have the label be your management, but have somebody look at all of these different deals, because you're not just signing a label deal. You also got to sign production deal. You sign your publishing. Like, there are so many layers, and you really need to be protected, because a lot of people fall into this category. Megan was just got out of her
management deal, and she got into Rock. And she got Rock Nation.
Well, that's what everybody need to do. Go
with Rock Nation.
Listen, they about to save Meek. We already see the play from a mile away. Meek about to go get his contract renegotiated or out of that deal. They are like the next branch of government. Rock Nation is they really are
government agency.
Yeah, well, shoot, they bringing people out of prison too. They doing major stuff. They doing a whole lot, but also, it's and I know this is something that's hard, but people have to think at least one step ahead. It's hard to mix business with pleasure.
Hello.
It is really hard.
Hi.
Sometimes you have to sacrifice that instant urge of like, okay, like I really enjoy
your back blown out.
I mean, I'll never get my back blown out, but so it's like,
you know how hard it is.
If you won't do it, you better work.
No more, because I do. It's very hard. It's very hard.
It's hard when you're in a studio late night with someone working on something. It would be so difficult not to develop something,
But then it's hard when y'all not with each other anymore, and you still got to work. You're still contracted to work with that person.
Right, but imagine, okay, so they clearly have chemistry, right? Because their working relationship is now a sexual and a personal relationship. But it's like, how do you separate? I hate you, but I work great with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could see her even say she wasn't even in a production deal. Maybe she goes work with someone else and she realizes I just can't create the same thing. Right. It's really a conflict of interest, and it's hard.
Look at The Rock. The Rock's CEO of his company is his ex-wife. And he married, she married. They be all posting it in pictures together. But he said she was the best business person, let alone woman, that he knows, and he didn't trust anybody else to run all these businesses that he has. And they did this after they got, it started when they were married, but after they got divorced, he made that decision.
Hey, sometimes you got to suck it up. You want to bring in the money. You hate this person, but they might be the person that brings the best up out of you. So I hope it's a choice, though, and I hope she's not locked into it.
It don't sound like it's a choice. It sounds like she's locked.
Yeah, because she's not gonna be walking the red carpets like The Rock's ex-wife.
Right. They not gonna be all kumbaya together.
Listen, as long as she making music, he'll always have a job. So at the end of the day, he'll be able to provide for the children. Like, you gotta look at it the other way too.
You mean she'll be providing twice over for the children?
No.
Him too. If he producing, yeah.
He's not. He putting London on a track, and that's it. All right, real quickly, this doesn't need to be a whole conversation, but I saw Damson Idris upload a video of Sweetie playing the piano for him, and I just didn't like it. I don't want nobody playing the piano for Damson. I just didn't like it.
Wait, why do you say that? My wife is obsessed with that man. Why do you say
I love him too.
That's what she's saying. She don't want Sweetie. Yeah, she likes Sweetie too. But
he's in the UK, right?
Yeah, I don't care where he's from. I don't want no woman playing piano for him.
Boys need love too, Mina. Like
not from Sweetie.
Waiting on you. Like what he supposed to do? He hot out in these streets.
Yeah, you do, and you don't even gotta worry about it. Sweetie won't be around there long.
She definitely won't. She definitely will not. I got some stories about that one too. She's something I think the city girls are
mean.
No. I'm not even. I don't know her personally to like even like attack like her character, but he's the guy.
Yeah.
He has a trillion options around him. And I'm pretty sure it's other people that aren't playing the piano that you'll never see. You'll probably be amazed by that's in that house.
You know what though? I interviewed him when John Singleton was still alive. And so that, this is, when the show first started. And it's a lot more popular now, but when it first started, it wasn't as popular. It definitely grew. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I remember he had a girlfriend.
Girl, that was how many seasons ago? He popping out in these streets.
But I don't know if he's still with this girl.
Not because Sweetie playing the piano for him. You won't let that be your man and let him post a video of Sweetie playing the piano for him?
He with all of them.
I don't know. Some of these girls, they understand this is what he has to do for a living.
True, too.
It wouldn't be me. I would be beefing with my dude every day. Why you uploaded this picture of you and this other girl or this video? But do you guys have like a crush like that, like celebrity, where you don't want no one liking them or having a crush on them? We know yours, Dexter, Ashanti. So this question wasn't for you, Dexter. We know
the world knows yours.
You love Ashanti. Ashanti knows you love Ashanti. But do y'all have someone like that?
I have one that's living and one that's not.
Is there one that's living named Travis Scott?
No. The one that's living actually for some time. I don't think I have a new one, but it used to be The Rock. Like I was obsessed.
That's why you know the weird
because I was
of who's running his business.
Yeah. So, and then the one that died was Tupac because he was my husband. We just were never together. I was a child. He was not like a pedophile or anything, but we were together. He came to me when he died. He came to me.
You died with him?
No, he came to me in my sleep to tell me everything was going to be okay.
Oh.
I owe people back in school like a couple $100 because I had bet everyone in the 7th grade that by the time I was 25, we was going to be together. But I feel like that bet is null and void because he passed. I mean, I can't pay up.
So mine right now is Damson, but I loved Nas, and there's like a little nostalgia now where like when he was dating Khalees, I hated her. And I was like, she's not good enough for him. I did not like that at all.
That's how I feel about all these 21-year-old girls he dates.
You gotta live. I don't care. This woman's already married.
Jada Pinkett Smith?
Nah. Jada, listen. Jada fine, but nah, I'm good off that. Whatever.
Megan Good. It's always like Megan Good.
Nah. It's
Jada Pinkett or Halle Berry.
Nah, it's dang, why is Joy Taylor from the reporter, the sports reporter? Joy Taylor is amazing.
I gotta look her up. I don't even know who she is.
What? And then nobody knows who that is.
Listen.
He don't got to worry about nobody else taking her from him.
That's why I really like her, because she's like right on the cusp.
Oh, I know who that is.
I do know who she is. Okay.
I didn't know that was her name though.
I didn't either.
Joy Taylor is amazing.
You like them thick.
Hey man, it's the only way to have them. Only way to have
Dexter, anybody besides Ashanti?
It don't look
like
I care about other
people like it?
Garnett. It says she divorced.
Says where?
It says she divorced.
Listen, somebody tweet her right now. My money getting up there. So yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, he said I can get you a house.
Exactly.
Dexter, anyone besides Ashanti?
You're gonna get Dex in trouble.
Like, I feel like if you start to have multiple people that you like, oh, I like this person, I like this person, I like this person. At that point, I don't believe you. I think you just be looking like, oh, like picking them up at trees or something.
All right, real quickly, I know we spent a lot of time on performing and stuff like that, but I wanted to talk about something because so when you're in a relationship, right? And it's something long term, so you're locked in, right? This is not like you're getting to know the person. How do you know it's time to let that go? Like, how do you separate this is just a petty argument, so like this person really does not need to be in my life? Like, how do you know you need to break up with someone? Like, what because you're gonna fight, you're gonna argue, you're gonna go through ups and downs, but how do you know this is something that you need to permanently end?
Not necessarily an argument like would do it for me. Like if we argue, whatever. It's more so like the longevity of it. So like if we argued and then we moved on from it or didn't move, whatever. But it's like if I can't get over a certain thing, like I feel disrespected by something or I feel like offended by something and I don't feel like you addressed it or you don't care. Like to me, that's kind of like one of those things where I got to start putting some distance between us. And if you're in a relationship and you start putting that distance, like it's over with. Like if it's a friendship and you put that distance in there, like we can kind of come back together because we're friends. But if it's a relationship and you start adding some distance between the two of y'all, like that situation is over.
I don't know because I'm a Gemini, so I love chaos. So you can't ask me. But I mean, I guess I agree with Dex. It just all depends. I think every situation is different. I think you have to know who you are, and that's the most important part is knowing who you are and just knowing what you're willing to take. I mean, because what could be disrespectful to me might be different to you, Mina. But if you're especially if you're in a relationship with the person, when things are starting to take a turn, when an argument is not just an argument anymore, when something that could have been a joke is actually intended to be hurtful. So I think it just all depends. But you don't want to start arguing with me because we just start.
I said Shana was obsessed with Travis Scott. She's been taking shots at me the whole show, so I believed it.
I wasn't taking shots. I was on your
side. I'm just kidding. You gotta argue.
I honestly don't know because I struggle with this because I cut people off for everything. And then someone recently said to me, like, Mina, you have to learn that everything is not like a breakup. But I'm like, yeah, it is. Like this violated me. This made me feel X, Y, and Z. This is a breakup. But I literally have been told I was in a 5-year relationship, and I remember my boyfriend. I remember the day where he was like, Mina, you have to stop breaking up with me. Like this is the day. He was like, this is the day where you don't break up with me no more. Like once you break up with me, that's it. It's done. Like you can't break up with me over everything. And I'm like, well, what you doing is stuff to break up over. Like
how many times a month was y'all breaking up?
It wasn't every time. How many times a month? It was just like if I felt like you were completely like violating like me or disrespectful, I won't talk to you for a week or two. That's it. Like, and then they'll be like, Mina, you literally broke up with me for 2-3 weeks. Yeah, you deserved it. I didn't want to talk to you. But again, it creates kind of like, it could create a bad kind of rhythm where you're like going back and forth in a toxicity. But that's why I'm trying to learn like oh no, I gotta let this go for good. Like when do you know that's it? Because in the moment I'll be feeling like I'm done with this dude. I'm over it. I'm not tolerating this for the rest of my life. I'm good.
I just think at some point it got to be peace. And I think that's what I look for. I think that's what a lot of people look for. You just want you want peace in a situation, and when you just realize, going back to what everybody said, just like the longevity of certain arguments or things can't be, you can't forgive. You're gonna have to give that space, and who knows if you can return to that. But you definitely gonna have to give something a little bit of space, because sometimes you need to the person may need to heal, and they can't heal being around you. Going back to Summer Walker, it's like it's going to be very hard for her to heal if she got to see his face every day. That's a different type of thing. So, some things you can't immediately stick around for. But I also don't agree with breaking up with somebody every week. I think that's just being emotionally chaotic at times. So it's like it's some things, yeah, you just gotta look at it and either have a conversation or just learn how to forgive somebody in that moment. But I struggle with stuff too, where I'm very forgiving sometimes at a fault, and I know a lot of things, it can hurt me in a moment, but then a couple days later it won't hurt, and it's like, all right, like it ain't that bad. So now we back at, is it worth it? Is it peaceful? Is it going to be peaceful?
So that's the barometer. If it's not peaceful, you have to break up with someone, like for good.
To me, I like having sanity. I like being able to get up and being able to focus on things that I can focus on. Right now is work. I need to be able to focus on my work to get things done, and figure out everything else, because that's going to help everything else. I just need to be able to think with a very clear head, as clear as I can, and get help and push mentally towards that. So,
Dexter, you're married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on the other end, how do you know when you're gonna marry someone?
Oh, like it's really like it's one of those things. Sorry, my laptop was dying in the middle of the show. When marriage is kind of one of those things where it's like you can have an argument with someone and you like hate them and like you want nothing to do with them, but then at the same time though, the only thing you want in that argument, in that same situation, is for that person to really just understand you, and you actively care about them understanding you despite you being mad at them or whatever, and vice versa. And like in the conversations with someone that you like want to marry, whatever, they feel different. Like they don't even there's definitely arguments and you want to strangle the person, but at the same time it's kind of like, but I wouldn't want to have this argument with anybody else either. Or if it was with somebody else, I probably would strangle them. Like you just want the best for the other person, and like despite how angry you are, you know that they want it back for you too. And I feel like that's very rare, because even in friendships, it's like sometimes when you guys are going back and forth, it's like we don't ever have to talk again after this. I do not care, even though eventually you do talk to that person again. But like someone that you want to marry, when you're in a relationship like that, you care about the words that you're saying to them. Even if you say things that are hurtful intentionally, you don't want it to linger, because like it hurts you to hurt them.
I think I've had some marriage potential in my life.
You can't ask me. I be in love with everybody.
For me, it's very rare. Like I don't really get. For me, like when I argue with people, I want them to cry. Like I want to hurt. Yeah. So like for me to be in a situation where it's like, oh, I don't want you to hurt. It's like, oh, there's something, and this is what love must feel like. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I don't want to argue because I know I have the propensity to get really petty and really nasty. So I don't even really want to do it. And I will try to stop it if I feel like it's about to happen. Like, especially in relationships, like I'll kind of be the one like, I don't even want to do this. I won't even, but I do be like, say one more thing. Okay. And then then it's too late. The floodgates is open. And I'm probably going to say something hurtful that I am going to regret, but I'm going to do it in the moment just because it's my nature.
Mm-hmm. See, with me, I look for patterns. I don't know why my brain looks for patterns, right? So if I see something and I don't like it, I address it. And I'm like X, Y, and Z, right? So if it happens again, I'm like, okay, I addressed this already. I'm gonna hang up on you now. Now I'm gonna, I'm gonna remove myself a little bit. So then I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna talk to this person for a couple of hours or a couple of days or whatever, right? And then if it happens again, now I'm like, we breaking up. So it's like, I'm like, is that the right way to handle it? You know what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes I end up a lot of the times I end up getting back in a relationship with this person. So I'm like, clearly my breakups don't, I'm not doing it right here, guys. So that's why I'm like, okay, I got to figure out when is the right, like, when do you know you have to break up with someone? And I guess that's why that's how I came up with this topic, because I don't know when. I feel like 3 times you're out and I'm gonna break up with you and I'm gonna go do me. I'm gonna be out in these streets, and then if we get back together in 3 weeks, okay. But I was single for three weeks. That's kind of how I see it,
Now I will say this to any younger or old listeners listening or watching. Once something goes violence, you gotta end that.
Absolutely.
Man or woman.
Yeah.
Once that violence starts, y'all, don't do it.
No, I agree. None of mine have been violent. It's just I just be like, okay, that's it. I'm done with you. I don't want to talk to you. And I literally won't talk to them for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And then someone will apologize. And then I'll be like, okay. Or someone will want to talk about it. And then we'll talk about it. And I'll be like, okay. But if you're going to act a fool, I'm going to be single.
For 3 weeks.
Is that petty? I'm nowhere near getting married, huh, Dexter?
Not no time soon.
I also think in relationships too, though, that people tend to always focus on what's going wrong. It's like, it's never a talk about, hey, listen, like, I really enjoy you for this. Like, I know I could say a bunch of things right now to make the problem worse if we're going back and forth for this argument, but I can also say some things to try to direct it in a better way.
If you want to.
No, right. But yeah. I'm just saying, that's a thing that I feel like people should focus on more instead of just harping on what they don't like, because we not gonna like a lot of stuff other people do. Like a lot. So like if somebody's going to be around, we have to be able to enjoy and speak about the things that we enjoy a little bit more often, so it can just change course, because we all say the same thing. Yeah, I can say some of the meanest shit if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
But where is that going to take us? You're just going to end up hurt, or you're going to say some mean stuff. I'm just going to end up hurt. Where's the line in this? Where's the, okay, well, like I said, you do this very well. I really don't rock with this, but you do this, and maybe we can work on this. And you still not going to be perfect, because nobody's going to change the next day. Like that's just it's not happening. It's impossible. That's a gradual thing. So, I just think that, we got to try to at least focus on the positives a little bit more.
I do need patience, to your point, Garnett. Because when you're trying to teach someone how you want to be treated and what's acceptable to you and what's not acceptable to you, because you have to think people are coming into this relationship with whatever they have from their previous relationship. So whatever was allowed in their previous relationship, it's almost like you have to tell that person these things aren't okay. Like if you have someone that yells at the top of their lungs, bruh, and I always say this, I said, I don't know what your other girls allowed you to do, but you're not about to be talking to me crazy and yelling at the top of your lungs like you my daddy. We not doing that. So if you're going to come in here and start yelling, you can go home, or I'll hang up on you. So it's like retraining someone. And sometimes it takes longer than having to tell someone one time. But for me, it gets frustrated because it's like, how many times do I gotta tell you this doesn't work for me?
Especially if it's something like that, like yelling, like that's like low-key, like abusive to me. So like if that's what you're doing, like I can't. But
it could be a range of things. Like I had a guy where I would tell him like, hello, can you call me back? Like if you have to go, call me back. If you can't call me back, at least text me. And it would be so difficult for him to check in with me at the end of the day. For me, that was a big deal. Because I'm like, you got to check in. If I don't talk to you all day, at least say, hey, hope you had a great day. I'm really tired. I had a long day. I'm going to bed. Something. But it's like retraining people for what they were allowed to do before. whatever girl you dealt with, whatever guy you dealt with, maybe he didn't have an expectation for you to check in. Maybe they were okay with you yelling because they would be yelling back and be manic. Whatever it is that you was doing over there, now I got to tell you, well, that don't work over here. If you want to be with me, I need you to check in. I need you to communicate with me. You know, I need you to return phone calls. It's simple things that I think are simple, but maybe that wasn't their requirement in previous relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not about to be yelling at me at the top of your lung. I had a guy that used to storm out during like arguments. Where are you storming to? Oh, I'm mad. Okay. Go to the couch and take a time out. Like, you don't gotta leave. You know, it's like it be stuff like that. And then I get impatient because I'm like, okay, I'm clearly telling you what's not acceptable for me. If you can't get with the program, you gotta go. Because I'm not gonna be with the guy that's storming out just because he's mad or screaming at the top of his lungs in the middle of the street. Excuse me? That's ratchet, bro. We're not about to be in the middle of the street screaming at each other. No.
That is, to Dexter's point, that is actually like a level of violence if y'all stand in the street yelling at each other. But I would say, like, even the storming out, you said something about their past relationships, but sometimes it goes into how they were raised. And I think, to your point, is if I address it and talk about, like, why do you think that that's okay? If you tell me, like, because that's how I see my mom and dad, but it's still not something you're willing to work on, then maybe the relationship needs to end. But sometimes we do gotta have the patience to also understand, and again, decide whether you want to deal with it or not, and be quote unquote like retraining them, like, where are these habits coming from? Because it's not always just their love relationships, it's their like familial relationships or things that they've seen or felt like should be accepted as well. But the yelling in the middle of the street, yeah, I'm with Dex. That's borderline violence. We done.
It's embarrassing. We're not doing
Oh my God, hello. Or even arguing. I you know, I was at my friend's birthday and this girl started arguing with her man and she started throwing pots and pans and sternums because, you know, they had the what?
I said in front of people.
Right, they had like the, you know, the food and the sternums. He started throwing the sternums, and I was like, "Oh my God, how embarrassing is this?" It'd be little stuff like that I'm like, if I ran into that man that came out of the relationship with that girl that's throwing pots and pans and sternums, and now we in a relationship, and now you throwing pots and pans and sternums, I would be mortified. I'm not doing that. You goodbye. You crazy. But again, the patience part is what I struggle with. Like, how long am I going to have to wait for you to understand this doesn't work for me? And if this doesn't work for me, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll go somewhere else and go deal with somebody where we have the same kind of values, and you're not going to be throwing pots and pans and sternums.
Yeah. Or they willing, or to your point, you want to be patient, but patient to a fault. You don't want to be that patient if he's not willing to do those things and wants to do those things and say, you know what, Mina, I know you mentioned this before and it's something I'm really working on. I know I'm not there. Then that's a guy that's like, okay, you know, he's got some kind of, you know, he's maybe worth me being a little bit more patient because he's addressing that it's something that he knows he needs to work on, or and vice versa, if he's telling you. But I don't think we should just be patient just for the sake of being patient, because some people ain't for us. They're not marriage material. They're not man material. They don't want to change. They ain't never going to change. And that's okay to leave them be as well.
That's why we're having this conversation, because, you know, they'll tell you till they're blue in the face, okay, it won't happen again. And then the next week they throw in pots and pans and sternums.
That's probably where London on the track said to Summer Walker, whenever he was doing what he was doing, it won't happen again. Now she writing a whole album and he getting paid off of it. And it's a good album too. It's good.
All right, y'all. So I don't know if I learned anything, but I got some insight. So I guess it's time to break up when it's violent.
Yes.
For sure.
It's toxic.
Yes.
The person won't change. But how long do you give them to change?
That's up to you.
It depends. It depends. Yeah. Some things ain't never going to change. So it depends. Some things you want to adapt and adjust to is, again, just up to you and what that thing is and how long you're willing to give grace.
Okay. All right. Got it. Thanks, guys. That's the 202nd episode of the Mina's House podcast. Thank you for listening and watching. I'm Mina SayWhat.
I'm Shana B.
Garnett, Briscoe.
Stuckey.
Don't throw pots, pans, and sternums.